Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Prabhupada ki jai, Swasta Rupanu Guru Guru Varga ki jai, Saparshad Gaur Hari ki jai, Gaur-Nitananda Prabhu ki jai, Shri Radha Govinda Ju ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. First offer my prostrated Dandavat Pranam on this times to my most worshipful Guru Pada Padma Paramaradyatam Om Shripada Stotra Tasarishi Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev Rabina Guru Pada Padma Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the entire Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, all assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, to all my seniors, to all assembled devotees, please accept my Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. So today we are observing the very auspicious Tithi of Sri Madhvacarya. So on the request of the Vaishnavas, I'll repeat some of the teachings of our Guru Varga about the exalted supramundane pastimes of Sri Madhvacarya, about his philosophy and the principle of Akhanda Guru Tattva. Why are we remembering and worshipping and celebrating Sri Madhvacarya on this day? What is our connection with him in this Gaudiya Sampradaya? Who are we? We are members of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sarasvat Vaishnav Sampradaya. And as members of such lineage, we are remembering and observing the festival days in accordance to these auspicious appearances and disappearance of our Guru Varga. Se Mata Pavitra. The festival or holy days of our Acharyas are of equal significance to the appearance days of the Lord himself. Vaishnavere Gunagan Korile Jivaratran. By remembering the Vaishnava Acharyas, our lives become purified. So we're here in this very beautiful temple, maintained and managed so nicely by the devotees here. Wherever there is a place for Sri Hari Mandir, all those who are serving that place are so exalted, and we should offer pranam. And all those community members, all the devotees, such an amazing thing, such an amazing service and contribution. I'm so honored and grateful to be present here, even for a few days. And I'm hopeful to strengthen our bonds of service together in collaboration. Srila Gurudev would say that I'm very pleased to see devotees in the Dham, Vrindavan, Navadvip, Jagannath Puri doing bhajan. Very nice. But I'm even more pleased and happy to see devotees in the West, like flowers blooming in the desert. Blooming though. Blossoming. What are the blossoming flowers? Srila Gurudev would say, Param Gurudev said, the devotees are the flowers. Once his godbrothers came to Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Mat, Devananda Gaudiya Mat. He said, you have such nice land, why don't you make a flower garden? He said, you haven't seen my flower garden? Come tonight. Nighttime. We don't look at flowers at night. So come at night. So at nighttime all the sannyasis came and they saw a grand assembly had been arranged. And Sri Madhvacarya Narayan Goswami Maharaj, my Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Goswami Maharaj, his three sannyasi disciples were present, and he asked them to speak Harikatha. And they spoke such beautiful Harikatha, and afterwards he said, just see these flowers. Material flowers are, how long will they last? But the fragrance of these flowers will spread all over the world. Not only that, a good flower makes more flowers. The seeds of those flowers will be planted all over the world and they'll sprout up, and then many gardens will be there. And when Srila Gurudev came to the West, he said, I've come to collect your hearts like flowers, to offer the lotus feet of the divine couple, Shri Radha, Govindaju, Shyamasundar. Gurudev came to collect those flowers, the flowers of the seeds planted by Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, without whom in the Western countries we would not have any Krishna consciousness movement. And Srila Gurudev also planted so many seeds, and those seeds are sprouting into so many beautiful flowers. But a flower in the desert especially needs water. In a good climate, you don't have to worry about watering the garden so much. But Gurudev said the West is like a desert. So we need to take special care to water those flowers. How do we water the flowers? With ras. Ras is like water. Rasa. Best ras is Shravana Kirtanam, Smaranam, hearing, chanting, remembering, coming together, sadhu sangha. Madracharya. This is required. Sadhu sangha. By sadhu sangha, then we can easily cross over the ocean of birth and death. So therefore, temples are meant for facilitating and arranging sadhu sangha, assemblies of bhakti. We were reading last night, we do a morning and evening Zoom. We're reading about the society of Sri Gauranga as described by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He said, what is the primary function of the society of Gauranga? He said, Ishtagoshti. What is Ishtagoshti? Ishtagoshti is not meeting about problems in this world, which are insurmountable and endless. Ishtagoshti means coming together to celebrate Sri Hari, Harikatha Goshti, that is Ishtagoshti, Thakur says. Coming together, hearing about Hari, developing in that transcendental life, and then everything else becomes insignificant as we develop in bhakti. Two things are countless, Gurudev would say. Waves in the ocean. So those waves in the ocean represent two things. What? Material problems on one hand, material ocean. And transcendental ocean is the love and affection of Sri Guru. Gurudev said, my love and affection in Jagannath Puri, one of his last darshans. He was standing out from the temple, looking out on the ocean. So many waves were coming. He said, what are these waves? He said, these waves is my love and affection for all the devotees. My boundless mercy and compassion never ends. Gurudev said, the mercy of the Vaishnavas is like a river, or like the ocean. It's there, always available. We simply must dive in. Dive deep in that ocean of ras, bhakti rasamrita sindhu, the ocean of bhakti ras. So part of the range, how do we do that? Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathuravas, Shraddha, Srimurti or Sivan. Rupa Goswami says, 5 limbs of bhakti is especially important. Association of devotees, hearing Bhagavad Katha, performing Nam Kirtan, being in the Dham. What is the Dham? Jaistan Vaishnav, Sestan Vrindavan. Where the Vaishnavas are present, that is the Dham. So we come together and honor all Vaishnavas and serve together very nicely. So, we want to remember Sri Madhvacarya, some of his amazing pastimes, and then we'll hear a little bit about his philosophy, his teachings, Dvaita Dvaitavad, this philosophy, how he is connected to this Gaudiya Sampradaya, and also how we can understand what is the principle of Khanda Guru Tattva. So the fun part first. Sri Madhvacarya. Who knows whose Madhvacarya is the incarnation of? Hanuman and Bhima and Vayu, their ontological source. Mukhya Pran, he's called Mukhya Pran. The most of the 5 life airs, Pan, Apan, Saman, Vayan, Mukhya is the most prominent. So that is that is Vayudev. Vayudev is the god of air. Wind. It's very strong, very powerful. People may say, what's the most powerful force? Fire, water, air, sound, ether. Air is very strong. Mukhya Pran. Why? We see that Vayudev appeared in Mahabharata as Bhima and in Ram Leela as Hanuman. Who is the most prominent and powerful character in the Ramayana? Besides Lord Ram? Hanuman.
I thought he was an incarnation of Lord Shiva.
Something is connected a little bit, but
Hanuman.
yes, but Bhima and Hanuman, they're all in the same way, especially have that power of Vayu. Shiva is also there, of course. But Madhvacharya, he is previous incarnation of Bhima and Hanuman. So in Ram Leela, he's serving as Hanuman, and in Krishna Leela, he's serving as Bhima. Bhima Dev. Bhima is one of the most beloved characters from Mahabharata. His glories are very vast. So when Madhvacharya was a boy, he was the son of Madhvacarya Bhatta. He was born, and since the time of his birth, he exhibited transcendental amazing pastimes. Janma karma chame divyam. Krishna says, my birth and my activities are transcendental. Similarly are my devotees. Na karma bandhanam janma vaishnavanam chavidyate. The birth and the activities of the devotees are not according to the laws of karma. They are transcendental. For the service of Krishna Hari. So we should understand by this that all the demigods are actually servants of Sri Hari. This is shown by Vayudevata being one of the 4, as his form as Madhvacharya, he is one of the heads of the 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas. So they're all serving Krishna. So there is one absolute truth, not many. So just as Akhanda Guru, as Guru is one, Krishna is also one. The absolute truth is also one. So when Madhvacharya was just a little boy, he started to show his amazing power. And he was a voracious eater, very hungry, like Bhima. When he was just a little boy, he didn't have, his mother was away for just a few minutes, half hour or something. He was so hungry, they had all these bushels of grain and for horses. And he just ate it all, 4 or 5 of them. Later on in his pastimes, it's described that he ate 4,000 bananas. One sitting. Record holder. 4,000, I was reading. 1,000 was his one record, and then he again did it. Later on, 4,000 bananas.
Beat his own record?
Beat his own record. This is one of the pastimes described in his Charitra. But that's not the most important feature. But it shows that he is not an ordinary person. We may say, I can be like Madhvacharya, but can you eat 4,000 bananas? They're not small bananas also, Jagannath Puri, small bananas. Some baby, champakela. But some places you have big bananas. So he would eat like that. Madhvacharya. He had a big body. It's described that when he was just a little boy, there was a fierce demon terrorizing the neighborhood. And very easily killed, it's called Maniman. Very easily killed that demon. Like play. Like Krishna killed many demons playfully. Krishna playfully killed Putana, Trinavarta, all the different demons. It was like child's play. So Madhvacharya also, as just a boy, he killed this demon that had been killing so many people. And another time his mother left home for some time. They had a temple like in a hilly region. And his mother left for some time and told him, stay at home, look after the deity and everything. He was just a little boy, 4 or 5. So she came back and she saw her son wasn't present. And like if you can't find your son, and he's just like Chandra, imagine Chandra's like lost. And there's demons around and snakes. So she's thinking, oh, where is he? Where is he? His name was Vasudev. Where is Vasudev? Where is Vasudev? She was calling out loudly, crying out for him. And when she came to her house, she saw a huge boulder in front of the door. It had like a big temple door. A big door. And there was a huge, massive boulder sitting in front of it. She was thinking, oh no, some demon came and ate my son and put this massive boulder blocking the temple of the deity. She called out to him, where are you? Where are you? Oh son, oh son, oh son. And he was playing with his friends like some kilometers away on a hill, another hill. And he jumped from that hill like Hanuman, thousands of feet through the air and landed by his mother. Yes, mother? You can imagine, as a mom, what are you going to say at that point? Like, oh son, oh son, oh son, where are you? And she was loudly calling out. And so all of a sudden she heard this like sound of like this approaching like missile. Yes, mother? She was thunderstruck. So at 5 years of age, he took Brahmin initiation. 5 years old. It's earlier than normal, even though Brahmin boys will take at a young age. Upavitra. Sometime later, there's another very interesting pastime that shows his kind of power. His father went in debt. Madvacarya. He was a poor Brahmin. And he had gone in debt, taken a loan to get some like bullock cart and bulls to kind of do some agricultural work. The businessman kept coming back, and there's nothing worse than having someone come to collect and you're indebted and you can't pay them back. Yudhisthira Maharaj, when he was asked by his father, what is the worst misery? What is one of the worst things? He said, who is like an unhappy person? He said, someone in debt who was unable to pay it back. What's one of the things? So, little boy, Vasudev saw his father speaking with this businessman and a little disturbed, and he kept coming back, and he saw his father a little agitated. He said, Father, why are you so disturbed? His father was shy, he didn't really want to say, but he said, I owe. Finally he heard, he owned some large amount of money. So the boy went nearby to a tamarind tree, and there were some seeds. And he took these in his hand. He said, oh, Father, here, take this and give it to him. And his father was like, he didn't want to, disturb his boy more. So he said, okay. Imagine your son here, Father. Okay, you don't know anything, but you don't know how the world works. Tamarind seeds are not gold coins. So he gave it to him, and he started, just out of love for his son, he went to the businessman to give it to him. As he gave it to the businessman took it and then walked a little way and then saw, like the story of Krishna and the fruit seller. Krishna just gave a few grains, but it became so many jewels. So the businessman saw that the pouch of tamarind seeds had become full of gold coins. And he came back to the father and said, here, take it. You gave so much. It's like a miracle. How'd you get it? He tried to give it back, but his father kept it. That time, you can imagine, they started to understand. He's not an ordinary boy. Not an ordinary person. He's come for some great work. Great personality. So such is the, pastimes of Madhvacarya. But as it is, even when you see such a great personality, you, as a parent, sometimes you want to control their destiny. Try to kind of control what they do. So when he was just a young boy, it was his destiny to be sannyas. He went to the gurukul of his teacher as a young boy, and he wanted to take sannyas, and his parents were restricting. No. You already saw so many pastimes. How can you kind of control such a personality? So it's not possible. Such a personality, how are you going to, There's a story of Sankaracharya, how he took sannyas. Very interesting story also. But first, he took sannyas at 12 years of age. You can imagine. Wow. 12 years old, sannyasi. beautiful, effulgent. Already he knew all Vedanta, Veda, Sastra, Upanishad, everything by heart. One time he would read it, bas, memorized. So that's why they say in India, in the ancient times, to have memorized everything is not that great of a feat. Like to be able to quote all the Bhagavatam, all the Bhagavad Gita, all the Upanishads, all the Sastra, that's something. But it's not that real kavi, real poet. That's what they say in like Navadvip time, back in time of Mahaprabhu. There's many people who were like that. Srila Bhava Goswami Maharaj was like that. One time he could read anything and memorize it entirely. Just look through the book, bas. The brain was so sharp. So what is a real scholar? Someone who not only has book knowledge, but realized knowledge and can explain everything and harmonize everything and give amazing new commentaries. Then they are kavi. Not just a good memory, but realization, vigyan, higher than knowledge, gyan. So he took sannyas at a small age, and then he began to preach. After he stayed some time with his guru, Acyutananda, and then he began to travel and preach. So I was telling the story of Sankaracharya, how he took sannyas. Who knows how Sankaracharya took sannyas? He took very young. I think he was like 8. And he was asking his mother, because the Vedic tradition is you have to ask permission from your parents. He was asking his mother permission to take sannyas, and she was very attached. She said, no. So he arranged this pastime that one time he was bathing in the river, and a crocodile attacked him and began to eat him, swallow him. Wow. Right near his house. So he was calling out, mother, I'm being eaten. He arranged this pastime. He said, he's Lord Shiva. So his mother came out and said, oh no. And he said, oh mother, if I take sannyas before I die, I'll be liberated. Please give me the blessing and the permission to take sannyas. Before I die, I'm in my last moments. And she was so sad, and she thought, okay. So she gave him the permission, you can take sannyas. So he said, very happily, okay, Haribo. And he kind of like patted the crocodile on the head and said, okay, you can go now. Then he got up out of the river and Bas took sannyas and left. So what is the purpose of sannyas? When Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he said, Mukunda sevan brata koilan nirdaran. The only reason for sannyas is one pointed service of Mukunda Sri Krishna. Mukti dadat yati Mukunda. To adopt a vow, sevesh koile brindavanagiya. To adopt a vow to only serve Sri Hari Krishna. Like Prahlad Maharaj say, Vanam gato yad harim ashrayata. Taking sannyas means I take a vow. I will not serve any other, only Sri Hari. Seeing Hari everywhere, I will serve him. Wherever I go, I will engage in his service. So Madhvacarya took sannyas and began preaching. Within a short time, he began writing commentaries in many different books. So there's so many pastimes, But some of the prominent pastimes we hear, how he met Sri Vyasadeva. He met Vyasadeva in Badrika Ashram. He did many tours, South India and then also North India, Himachal Pradesh and so forth. So when he met Vyasadeva, you can imagine, Vyasadeva had been present 5,000 years before. Not 5,000, 4,000 something. When was Madhvacharya appearance? Something around 1100 AD. Well, some people say around 1290, say something around 11 something. About 1,000 years. So.
There's also a point when he told his parents he couldn't take sannyas, his father said, please don't take some, please, because I'm taking sannyas. Please don't, I'm bowing down to you. He says, Madhvacharya says, a father would only bow down to his son if his son was a sannyasi. So now I definitely take it.
Bye-bye. In India, they have a saying, whenever like a boy becomes a brahmachari or sannyasi, in the village or something, everyone's happy, except the family members. Meaning, like everyone will say, oh, congratulations, oh, your son has become a sannyasi, oh, haribo, haribo, and they'll throw a party. But then if their son shows some desire, they'll do anything to stop it. Very attached. So Madhvacharya, he was, thank you for Madhvacarya, he met Vyasadeva and he wrote commentaries on Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata and different Vedanta. Not only that, but he very powerfully challenged and debated and defeated all the Mayavadi scholars of the time. So this is an important thing to remember and to understand. There's different Vaishnav lineages, sampradayas. Shri Brahma, Rudra, Shanaka. Shiti Pavana. These 4 sampradayas, they purify all the world. Shri Brahma, Rudra, Shanaka. Madhvacharya is in the line of the Brahma sampradaya. So we're Brahma Madhva Gaudiyas. Coming from Lord Brahma, Madhvacharya, Lord Brahma, and this Madhvacharya in Mahaprabhu's line. And how are we connected to Madhvacharya's line, you may ask? Madhavendra Puri, Guru of Ishwara Puri, who is Guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is disciple of Lakshmipati Tirtha, who is in the lineage of Sri Madhvacharya, Madhva Sampradaya. So this is our connection. And Gurudev wrote articles about this, establishing this, because some Gaudiyas, Babajis and so forth, and Smarthas say that the Gaudiyas are not in the lineage of Madhvacharya. But our Gurudev very strongly refuted this. Why is that? Sastra says, Sampradaya vihina ye mantras te nishvalamata Shri Brahma Rudra Shanaka Chiti Pavana. Without taking mantra initiation in a bona fide sampradaya, then your mantra bears no fruit. What are those sampradayas? Shri Brahma Rudra Shanaka. Right? The Shri Sampradaya, the Brahma Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya, and the Chatursan Sampradaya. So therefore, we are connected. Mahaprabhu chose Madhvacharya to be that sampradaya that he accepted. So later on, the reason is, I'll tell it now, but why did Mahaprabhu choose Madhvacharya's line? Especially because of one feature. The worship of Vigraha in the mood of Brajendra Nandan Krishna, Gopal. He had this worship of Gopal. You may ask, what was the story? How he got this deity Bal Gopal, and he worshipped this deity in his temple. One time there was a boat that got stuck. It was a merchant transporting very valuable cargo. And he got stuck, this is in South India, I believe, near the tip, Kanyakumari. And so Madhvacharya, by his strength and his power, he got like, what do you call it, when the boat gets stuck in the sand? Moored. So he freed it, and the merchant was so happy with him that he offered him a gift. Whatever you want of my cargo. What do you have? So many valuable things. But mainly he had a lot of chandan, gopi chandan. Madhvacharya being bhakta, gopi chandan. What does Prahlad Maharaj say? Vina mahat pada rajobhishekam. Why do we all wear gopi chandan? It's so important for us. Every day putting on tilak. This is the foot dust of the gopis. What does Prahlad Maharaj say about the importance of foot dust? Matirna Krishne paratasvatova mito vipadyate griha vratana madanta gobir vishitang tanishram puna punaschardita charnaranam nate vidu svarta viting vishnu drasya viha artamanas antayatante rupagiya manas tepi shatandriyam urudam nibada nai sang matistavaru kramangrim prisatyanartha mahiyasam padara jobishekam niskinchananam navrinti avataha. That how you develop attachment for Krishna and look towards Krishna, follow Krishna Bhakti. Those who, because his father was saying, who are your teachers, Sanda and Amarka? Prahlad Maharaj laughed. They are my teachers. They taught me about Bhakti. It's not possible. He said, Matirna Krishna. Those who are turned away from Krishna, Matirna Krishna, Paratasvatova, absorbed in material life. They cannot be turned towards Krishna and Bhakti by the instructions of others, by themselves, by study, or anything. They don't know the real goal of life, so how are they going to be saved? You know what? Without the foot dust of the great devotee to the Lord, it's not possible. That is sadhanera bal, the power of sadhana. So Vina Mat Pada Rajobhishekam, where is that? Foot dust of the most exalted devotees. Uddhava says, Asamaho charanarenu jusama hamsham brindavane kimapi golmanato sadinam. Foot dust of the Braja Gopis. May I get that on my head. Vande Nanda Vrajastrinam Badarenu Vipikshna Sayasam Hari Katodgitam Punati Bhuvanatrayam. Let me get the foot dust of the gopis on my head and purify my existence. So that's Gopi Chandan. Mahaprabhu is so happy with Madhvacharya, seeing his respect for this Gopi Chandan. So the merchant gave him this big, huge thing of Chandan. And as they were trying to take it off the boat and bring it to the shore to give him, it fell. And it split in two. What was in the middle? To show the importance of Gopi Chandan. Not only the devotees wear Gopi Chandan, even Krishna. We see this in Keshav Brat. Every day, in Jagannath Puri for 41 days, every day Krishna gets Chandan on his body. Every day. And Gaudiya Vaishnavas, at least 21 days we give Krishna Chandan. And he gets a big bodybuilder, In our temples, every day we give Krishna Chandan, Chandan, Chandan. He becomes like bodybuilder. And then afterwards, we give him nice abhishek and all the Chandan all the devotees keep with them. And take a little bit every day. So when Madhvacharya, that Chandan ball opened, then inside was Balagopal, holding the churning rod. So this is his Ishtadeva, Madhvacharya. So Madhvacharya, he embraced this deity, and this deity was very big and heavy. But he carried him on his shoulder and took him all the way to his temple. And during that way, like 10 kilometers, he composed a very beautiful stotra. Sanskrit prayers to worship the Lord. And established his worship. He established 4 main mutts, temples, and 8 sannyasis and 2 sannyasis worship in each temple. And every morning they offer like 108 or even more tulsis to the lotus feet of the Lord. This is their responsibility. Each sannyasi will serve for a few years each. And this way all the different temples are maintained. One time Madhvacharya, he was traveling and he was going, there was a lot of conflict between the Hindus and the Muslims, even at that time. And so there was one side of a river where the Hindus ruled, and one side of the river that the Muslims ruled. And he wanted to cross to do preaching. They said, no, you can't go across this river. The Muslims on the other side are going to attack you and kill you. He said, you think Hanuman or Bhima is afraid? So he said, no problem. So he took a boat across, and immediately all the Muslim soldiers confronted him. He took him to their king. Because he was so courageous, they couldn't touch him. So they took him to the king, and the king was so impressed with him. He actually offered him wealth and everything. But he didn't accept. And as he was going on later, at that same time, many dacoits attacked him. Showing his prowess, even though many, many dacoits attacked him, within a few moments he killed them all. So Swami Prabhupada would say, we are not proponents of material ahimsa. Someone attacks the devotees, we'll stand up and fight. Prabhupada said in Mayapur, you should get some good guns, right? New Vrindavan also said you should have trained men with weapons. Second Amendment, Haribo. No politics.
Okay, you're in
No
Florida.
politics. Madhvacharya he had very powerful guns. He didn't need any ammunition. One time there was a king who was atheistic, and he wanted him to help excavate a big area like a lake and make a whole canal. And he was, trying to engage. He said, what are you sadhus doing? Just wandering around, enjoying from the, taking things from other people. We can go another 10 minutes or so. So he said, the king told him, all you sadhus, Vaishnavas, sannyasis, you're just a plague on society. You just enjoy the work of everyone else. You should do some work with us. Help us. He said, you king, what are you doing? You should lead by example. You start digging it. And when I come back from my travels, maybe I'll help. So by the power of his speech like that, the king, as if by some magical power, he had to himself, he was digging and digging and digging and digging. For like a whole year, and Madhvacharya returned and said, oh king, you're still doing it? Very good. Now you can take a break. So this is showing that, materialists, they don't understand the nature of sadhus. They try to control. But how are you going to control sadhus? Once Param Gurudev was traveling in Bengal, and the chief minister there had been a flood, and Param Gurudev was doing bhiksha, begging rice for Navadvip Parikrama. 15,000 pilgrims were coming. He was begging rice from this area that was flooded. The chief minister was smoking cigarettes and abusing him. What are you doing, taking from these poor people? Haven't you seen there's been a big flood? Bhaktivedanta said there's no flood. A few drops of water. The real flood is Pralay, coming soon to a world near you. Don't worry, Pralay is coming. He said, I don't see that your cigarette's been put out by the flood. When Pralay comes, when the world is submerged in water, then your cigarette will be put out. Then the flood will have come. Before the flood comes, I'm trying to save as many souls as I can. So this is the real flood. He said, you haven't been able to control your own senses, so you can't help anyone else. So try. Those who can't control themselves, they try to control others. Those who are self-controlled, then they help others, but they don't try to control. They help, inspire, encourage. So Madhvacarya had so many amazing pastimes. He gave this philosophy of Dvaitavad, difference. So in Sastra, he gave a very important thing. We should understand that the Vaishnava Sampradayas, they were working in harmony. Ramanujacharya, Vishnu Swami, Nimbadvitya, Madhvacharya, they were working together to defeat Mayavad. So sometimes we have to remember, not to fight amongst each other, because it's a waste of energy. You look in India, India, all the kings were fighting against each other, and then time after time, they were invaded and defeated collectively. So the Vaishnava Sampradayas, they have faith in Hari as the absolute truth. Not like the Panchopasakas and others. They have faith in Hari. And so despite differences, they respect and cooperate with one another. Despite differences, they respect and cooperate with one another. Even between Sampradayas, completely distinct philosophies. Vishista Dvaitavad, Dvaita Dvaitavad, Vishuddha Dvaitavad. They still cooperate and respect each other and honor each other. And so the four Sampradayas, they're like pillars together. So Madhvacharya, he specifically came to smash Mayavad into 1,000,000 pieces. That's why his philosophy is the most forceful against Mayavad. That's also one of the reasons Mahaprabhu chose to be part of his lineage. Because we may say, Dvaitavad, it's too extreme. What did Dvaitavad saying? There's 5 basic principles. There's so much. He wrote many, many, many volumes. But of those who preached against Mayavad, monistic impersonalism, that the soul is one with God, Madhvacharya was the most powerful. And to this day, those who are Mayavadi scholars, they're very afraid of the Madhvacharya followers and sannyasis. Because they have famous debates, like annual debates, and they're always defeated. It's like if you're a sports team and you're like 0-1 against 1,000. 1,000 wins and 1,000 losses, 0 wins. Then you don't want to fight anymore with that group. I'll fight in my own league. So Madhvacharya's sannyasis, they taught him so powerfully that they couldn't, all the arguments they give, you cannot touch them. So Madhvacharya taught 5 main truths. 5 main differences. 5 main differences. When you see his picture, what he's doing? Peace sign. Dvaita. 2. So Sastra says, Mamai Vangso Jiva Loke. Krishna says, the jivas are part and parcel of me. But a father and a son, although they have connection and similarity, the son is not the father. And in relation to God and the jivas, Krishna and the jivas, although we are Amritasya Putra, the sons of that immortal truth, Krishna, although we are his children, we are of minute quality, infinitesimal. Anu Chaitanya, consciousness, and Krishna is Brihad Chaitanya, the supreme consciousness. So the 5 differences, Ishvar and Jeev, between God and the soul, Ishvar and Maya, between God and material nature, Jiva and Maya, between the Jiva and Maya, material nature, between Jiva and Jiva, and between Maya and Maya. So you can take an example. What one person is thinking, the other person is not thinking the same thing. And like one person here, or someone in China, or someone in India, or someone in any other country, Europe, are you thinking the exact same thing as a cat on the street in London? It's different. One jiva is different from another jiva. Jiva and jiva difference. One snowflake is different from another snowflake. Maya and Maya difference. Krishna and Maya. Maya and Krishna are not the same. Maya andhakar, Krishna surya sama. Krishna is this, like fulgence of the sun. Maya is darkness and ignorance. Go towards Godhead, go towards the light, leave darkness. So Krishna and Maya are not the same. Krishna and Jiva are not the same. No matter how hard we try, we're not going to become Krishna. Sorry to break it to everyone. We all want to be God, to enjoy like God, but better to give up that aspiration and become His servant. It's a better proposition. As the position of Krishna, as Krishna's servant, there's so much bliss. To show this pastime, one time Madhu Mangal, he said, Krishna, everyone worships you because you have played the flute nicely, you have a peacock feather. So give me a turn, and then everyone will worship me. So Krishna said, okay, here's my peacock feather, here's my flute. Okay, good. Kamsa recently sent, not Dhenukasura, who sent Keshi. And Kamsa told him, who is Krishna? Oh, he has a peacock feather and a flute. So he came to Braj, and Madhu Mangal was trying to show off like Krishna, play the flute, dance around. Keshi saw him and ran and kicked him, and he rolled 1,000 feet. And then went to Krishna, take your peacock feather, take your flute. As Das, full of bliss. As Prabhu, not so nice. Hanuman says, Madvacarya in this form of Hanuman said, Sevya Sevaka Bhava Vinuna Bhavatarya Ihur Urgar Bhajya Rama Pada Pankacha Sapakaj Risa. Sevya Sevaka Bhav. The mood of the servant and the mood of the master. This is eternal. We are never going to oh Lord, make me you. No. Make me your servant. I am yours. This is, what is Kaivalyekya Prayojanam? Oneness. Oneness is Prem. Through the power of transcendental love, we become so absorbed in the Lord that we achieve Satchidananda, the transcendental position as His eternal servant. And through Prem, we're always connected. So that is real Kaivalyeka. So Madhvacharya taught these things very powerfully, and his philosophy was so strong and powerful, no one could defeat or counter it. You may say, why didn't he teach the other side as much? He came with his specific service and function to smash this conception. And then other acharyas come and give more subtle understandings. That ultimately the jiva is, just because we are different from God doesn't mean we have connection or one feature of oneness with Him. Mahaprabhu therefore taught, he harmonized everything and taught achintya bed abeda tattva. Inconceivable oneness and difference. Why is it inconceivable? By our mundane mind, but by the eyes of Sastra, through realization of sadhana, and through mercy of Guru and Vaishnavas, then we can understand who we are, who Krishna is, Sambandha Tattva, who we are, what is Maya, what is Krishna, and go towards that realm. So therefore, we pray again and again to Sri Madhvacarya, and we pray to take shelter of him and develop strength in Bhakti, Guru Bhakti. Gurudev said, Guru Nishtha is the backbone of Bhakti. So we can pray to Madhvacharya for that strength, that backbone, that determination. And we can understand now, just to conclude, this idea of Akhanda Guru Tattva. Just 2 minutes, 3 minutes. We've been celebrating so many festival days. Shri Advaitacharya, Shri Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, now Nityananda Chaudhary is coming, Gorpurnima is coming. So many other days, so many Guru Vargas days. So we can think, why do so many different days of puja, all these different acharyas? Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj instructed Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, write the Vaishnava calendar with all the different holy appearance days and disappearance days of the Vaishnavas and honor them all. Understanding they're all Akhanda Guru Tattva. Guru Tattva is one. That is Baladev or Nityananda. And who is Guru? Gurudev said Guru is also Krishna. Vande Krishnam Jagat Guru. Who is Lord Brahma in our Sampradaya is son of Krishna, Narayan. And he got mantra from that. So we should understand that all our gurus in our line, they are in one unbroken line. Yasya Devi Para Bhakti Rita Devi Tatha Guru. Therefore, we should develop devotion to Sri Guru, equal to Krishna Hari. And anyhow, we should come into the connection of that disciplic succession. Guru is not like a riving cloud separate from all the different Vaishnava Sampradayas. That's why even in our Gaudiya Vaishnava temples, we have all the 4 Sampradaya Acharyas. In the different Gaudiya mats and many different ISKCON temples, all the Vaishnava Acharyas are present. To understand that this is one lineage. Meaning, ultimately, it comes in different flavors, you could say, but ultimately it is one. Akhanda Guru Tattva. Blessed by Sri Krishna in this line, manifestations of Sri Baladev and Nityananda, that's why we see all in like one line now, coming up to Gaur Purnima. Madvacarya, Ramayana, Lord Nityananda, Advaitacharya, Pancha Tattva, they're all coming. And they're all connected. So we should try our best to develop honor and respect. Srila Gurudev said, I was reading just 2 days ago, we were publishing all these different lectures and translations. We're working on Singapore right now, like 14 Hindi lectures translating, volume 14. So we're publishing all his world tour. 1996 we did 10 volumes. 97 we're doing 9 volumes. And we're going to continue on from there. So Gurudev gives so many amazing teachings there. One thing we were just reading is how Gurudev said, on the Kanishta level, we see many groups. He said, as we advance, we see one group. On the Kanishta level, we see many groups. And you could say from one perception of reality, there are many groups. It's not like, we're trying to deny that. But as we advance, you can see there's one group because there's one mission. Sanatana Dharma is one eternal mission. And that process of Guru connecting the jiva to Krishna as the bridge of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, what is the yoga? That is Guru Tattva. Vyas. Vyas means the diameter between 2 ends of a circle. The jiva in samsara and Krishna in the spiritual world. Guru is connecting us like the bridge. So that is yoga, connection. So therefore Guru is one because the principle is one. Therefore wherever we see that Guru Tattva, we should offer respect. That's why our acharyas, Bhaktivedanta Prabhu would say you should not try to attack the faith of devotees in their Guru. Even if it's not like perfect according to your conception, you should not attack their faith. Krishna says, I myself encourage people's faith. Even if it's Tama Raja Sattva faith, I encourage it. Because through that they can progress. Because this is a Akhanda Guru Tattva. Vyas is one. And all those who are serving this Vyas line, even Madvacarya went to Vyasdev, literary incarnation of the Lord, and took his shelter and blessing and offered his commentaries to him. So therefore it is one. And Gurudev said, as we advance, we will see everyone is part of that same family. Not even just the family of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All living entities, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, are in the family of the Supreme Lord. Therefore we should honor all. Jive Samandive Jani Krishna Adishtan. Honor all living entities, understanding that Krishna dwells within their heart. And so in this way we honor all holy days, and we pray to Sri Madhvacarya for his blessings and mercy and his strength. Let us develop in our Guru Bhakti, in our Nishta, in our service, and in this way we can try to please our Guru Parampara. Hare Krishna. Panchakapatasa Kripasadevaccha Pritanam Pavane Vaishnava. Yes, Prabhu.
So,
Madhvacarya's disappearance.
Disappearance. Yes.
On Madhvacarya's favorite Shastra was the Aitariya Upanishad. Very abstract. Which the Mayavadis love. We do that all the time. Maharaj Parikshit asks, this always comes up. Maharaj Parikshit asks, how can sound reveal the transcendence? It's a material vibration. So, the personified Vedas in the 10th canto, the prayers of the personified Vedas say, wait, my microphone, there's a sound vibration. personified Vedas. They say Krishna is pleased when we describe him in abstract terms. And we do that all the time in government. The president sometimes is called the capital. News from the Hill. Who's the Hill? The Oval Office responded to the Kremlin. A room talks to a building, and a Mayavadi, they think, oh yeah, it can be done. Yeah, this Aitariya Upanishad, everything is Atma. Atma is the creator, Atma is the destroyer, Atma is the maintainer, Atma is all pervasive, Atma has created the material world, Atma has created the Brahma Jyoti, Atma, everything is Atma. Madhvacarya comes says, this Atma is the abstract term for Krishna. Now put Krishna back into this. Everywhere it says Atma, you put Narayan, Vishnu, and it makes sense. So he was reading that in his last days, his disappearance. While he was reading, flowers came above him and covered him completely in flowers and flower petals. Then they heard him stop singing. They cleared the flowers away and he was gone. So that is the disappearance of Madhvacarya. Also went to Bhakti ashram to had darshan, personal instruction from Vedavyas, and he brought a disciple with him, but then there was a long leap, a crevice, and the disciple said, I can't go on. I said, okay, you go back. And in one leap, like Hanuman, he leaped across, and he went to Vedavyas, and he said, Vedavyasa, Prabhu, how do I preach the Vedic instructions to the world at this time, in this atmosphere? Because there's a lot of things going on now. People want to think of, let me try it this way, what they call bridge preaching. And Narayan Maharaj said, brudge preaching. So he asked Vedavyas, how should I present the Vedas now? And he said, say it the way it is, as it is straight. And the sincere people will come and the fools will go away. And Madhvacarya also, I was in Udupi. You've been to Udupi? You get the atmosphere, they're all Vaidhi. Vaidhi Bhakti means to exquisitely, flawlessly perform every single item, mostly in Archana. They're not so much Kirtan or anything. But Mayavadi Kandanam, sure. So to perfectly, and I got the same feeling as with Orthodox Jews. Orthodox Jews want to practice, want to fulfill, and they know it's impossible to fulfill 613 commandments, laws. And they know in their life they can never do it, but they try. And that's a bhakti. It's a little bhakti. But it's only following the, and then there's some ananda. Yeah, I never broke an arati, I never broke a Ekadasi. Look at me. There's a story that there was a Vaishnava who never missed Mangal Arati. And one day in his old age, he overslept. And somebody woke him up. He wakes up. Oh, it's time for Mangal Arati. You're going to miss it the first time in your life. Who are you? Kali. Kali Yuga, you come to. Why do you help me? So you'll stay proud of your record that you never missed it. The mud was, they get an Amimanda. So Madhvacarya also had on copper plates engraved his commentaries, and they're hidden somewhere in the mountains in South India, where they said in Satyuga, when they come back, people will discover that, and there won't be any Maya about that. All these acharyas give a version of the complete truth is Achintya Veda Veda. And I spoke to one of the Madhvacaryas. He said, I understand Veda Veda, why Achintya? And you said, and what I said, same thing. It is not by Shastra, or I tried to compose some Sanskrit. Prakrita Panditya Krishna Asambhav. By material scholarship you cannot understand. Cannot come to Krishna Bhakti. So all of these acharyas, it is like the phases of the moon. The full moon, the full tattva, which encompasses every other aspect is Achintya Veda Veda. Then Vishishta Dvaita, Dvaita Dvait, Dvait, and Vishuddha Dvait, they are different phases of the moon. And what is the new moon? Buddhism. Shunya, nothing. That's the dark. So there's nothing there. Now I tricked the Madhwas once. Someone asked Madhvacarya in the commentary, said, is everything here also present in the spiritual world? Said yes. This is perverted reflection. So then who are the gopis? And Madhvacarya could not reveal Gopi Bhava at that time. They didn't have Adhikar. It was not time. In the Navadvip Mahatmya, all the acharyas have a presence in Navadvip. And Mahaprabhu told Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya Nimbadita and Vishnu Swami, don't let it all out yet. Wait for me. I will give the complete Achintya Veda Veda. So they asked Madhvacharya, well then, if everything is in the spiritual skies in the material, who are the gopis? And he says, Sri Maharaj taught me this. He says, Divya Vesha, transcendental prostitutes. That's how he presented it. Now, I wrote an article for their paper, they printed it in their magazine, how that if you're a Mayavadi, you worship a deity, and then when you get moksha, you leave the deity, just like a prostitute. I elaborated it with verses and everything. Guess what I called it? Divya Vesha. And they never knew. That was the title, and they printed the title, but they never knew that it came from Madhva. So I had a good joke over that. I slipped it in. Because I always keep in mind, when I wrote my book also, Krishnadas Kaviraj writes, I have to, comes in fourth, Adi fourth, the big one. I cannot tell these things to people without the proper advancement, but I have to. It's my duty to describe Gopi Bhava, Manjari Bhava, Parakiya Bhava. So I will write it in such a way that the devotees and sincere people will understand and the fools will not. Who will be happier than me? So the acharyas always give concessions from the Uttamadhikari disciple down to an ant. That's why an Uttamadhikari sees everyone engaged, because there are concessions. If you don't understand Parakiya, Jiva Goswami had disciples who couldn't understand Parakiya Bhava. It's too adharmic, it's sinful. So he made an adjustment for them. The Guru doesn't say, you don't understand, get out. He makes concessions. My favorite story, I was there. This lady came to Prabhupada and said, I want to sew. He says, we need you to cook. Oh, but I want to sew. We need cooks. Then I want to sew. Okay, you sew. She comes out of the room, closes the door, says, Prabhupada told me to sew. Did he? Yes, he's told you. But what does the Guru really want? He really wants you to cook. He really wants. So this is the two fingers of Damodar, the ropes. One is and that's Ramanuja. There are two sects. One is the kitten and the cat, mother. The cat picks up the kitten does nothing. The other one is the monkey. The monkey, baby monkey, holds on to the mother does not, goes about her business, ignores the baby. We say it needs both. There is a fifth mutt for the Madhvas. It's called the Uttaradi mutt in central and South India. And they're completely caste, birth caste, smarta caste, Vaishnavas, which is, I had a debate with one and I quoted the verse, Vaishnava jati buddhi narakaye. If you think of Vaishnavas as some caste, you're in hell. And he choked. But they'd say, this is terrible. They say, with the two fingers, there are two kinds of jivas. Those born in our families and rakshasas. That is. Oh. Okay. So the fifth point, I think you said, snowflake, but jada jada, there's difference between material things. This is this. This is not a microphone. This is a chair. This is there are differences. The Mayavadis want to say sarvam kalpitam, everything is one. Yeah, well, until I give you a slap. Okay.
Jai Jai Jai.
Prasad?
By the way, you know, in the moon, the phases of the moon, the whole moon is always there. The whole moon is always up there, but it's revealing in segments: half moon, quarter moon, full moon, 3/4, then full. Jiva Goswami established the ritual Vaishnava Rajsabha. Give me water. I'm dying. Jiva Goswami and then Sridhar Maharaj, Bhakti Sridhar Maharaj continued. They would have a meeting every year of the Vishva Vaishnava Rajsabha, the universal kings of Vaishnavism. That Chincha Veda Veda is the king of all other tattvas, all other commentaries. And so they would have a meeting, and someone would present all the different philosophies. Someone would represent Buddhism, and then someone would defeat it with Chincha Veda Veda. Someone would bring in Vishishta Dvait, Vishuddha Dvait, Dvaita Dvait, and then someone would say, we don't have a big argument with that, but the superiority of a Chitta Veda goes like this and this and this. But it's a Dvaita Dvaita, Veda Veda. It's the same. That's the Nimbadita. Nimbadita says Dvaita Dvaita. But they're mostly, Sri Rama taught me all that. They're mostly Archanam. They don't have Kirtan. They don't consider Nam Prabhu in this age. And they only think of Radha and Krishna together. They have no separation. So there's no dynamic growing and increasing and increasing. I say to people, who's your Krishna there? I said, two things I said. You think of God as an old man with a beard because he's so old. Well, what did he look like when he was 16? It makes them think. I say, Krishna is more beautiful right now than he was 1 second ago. So don't blink. So he's always dynamic. The Nimbadita Sampradaya doesn't have this ongoing meeting and separation of dynamic, constantly expanding. It's Radha and Krishna together eternally. And I saw that they also slid into performing very severe austerities. And they achieved some siddhis, which is a diversion. They would wear Chaturmasya, the Acharya, sometimes would wear a belt of wood. This big, thick, beautifully polished belt of wood that's locked. And it hangs off the hip. You can't lay down with that thing on you. It's a big, thick donut belt. You can't sleep. Either you go mad, and if they take it off, they're rejected, or they can develop some siddhi. So they keep themselves in a semi-conscious state for 4 months. Now you can get a siddhi from that. And it was told, and in Vrindavan, everyone told me that this one Acharya was speaking here, and people saw him speaking in Lucknow at the same night, same time. To a completely different crowd, 100, 200 miles away. And they all swore by it. It might have been in the papers. That is, so-and-so is speaking tonight, and they know he was here speaking in Vrindavan. I would go there and do kirtan, and I would sing Radha, Jaya Jaya Madhava, because it says Sanaka Sanatana, so because they're in Sanaka, the Sampradaya. Rupa Goswami considered Sanatan his guru, so he didn't put, every poet will write his own name in the end. Bhaktivedanta Thakura Kohe, Narottama Das Subodhi, Asha Kore, and they put their name as a signature. But Rupa Goswami put Sanatan's name, and he worked it in that way. Sanatana Charita. Okay. What? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,